What's going on, vintage gamers? Welcome to an off-stream vintage league. I'm currently in the middle of just like a little social media streaming detox, trying to take like a week off, not log in at all to Discord and Twitter and Twitch. So it's going pretty well. Got lots of extra time to do fun things. Been trying to work on my TFT rank, and I've been doing some dates with a girlfriend. So it's been a good. I did want to make one video during the week just so I could make sure we get through Monday, Wednesday, Friday video cycle. And there is something interesting going on right now in vintage. This actually could end up being a very odd video because I have no idea what the community sentiment right now is about this deck. And I'm sure it's the talking point of tons of conversations inside of the Discord, inside of Twitter. But I have no idea what's happening in there. So I don't know what this is going to be like. So I could, make some comments and some judgments on this video, and it could be totally off base, and it'll be pretty interesting to find that out. So I'm just gonna give you a little overview of what happened, what I saw before I disconnected, and then we're gonna do a league with the deck. So on Saturday, the Vintage Showcase happened. Obviously, I didn't do super well in that tournament, but this player, Storm Guy is me, won the tournament with what is I would consider a brew. This is a deck that has never seen real play before or real tournament success. So, kudos to them. And I want to stress that I love when people go outside the box. They don't do the copy paste MTGO metagame, and they create something on their own. And what this is an amalgamation between Tinker and Initiative. So this is a blue Tinker Initiative. Esper Saga Initiative, something like that. You basically exactly what it sounds like. They smushed Esper Saga and White Initiative together, and this is what came up. And it's a powerful deck. Like when they said on Twitter, is they wanted to play all the powerful cards, and they definitely managed to do that. So we are a 4 Saga deck, but we are also a 2 basic 8 Initiative creature deck. And instead of playing the white hate pieces and the Cavern of Souls in the main, instead, they're opting for a Force of Will restricted blue card package. Basically, 4 Flusterstorm and all the restricted blue cards with a blue Tinker mana base to cast Tinker for Citadel and Sphinx. And this is really cool. And I think one of the other cool things is they put Archons in the sideboard. So in a combo mirror, they have additional threats. So you do, when you do this, lose out on what I feel are the best parts of Initiative and the best parts of Tinker. And that would be you lose out on the ability to reliably cast turn 1 Archon with Cavern of Souls, which I think is the best part of White Initiative. And you lose out on the ability to have a very powerful Citadel deck. This is what I would consider a bad Citadel deck. Now, that doesn't mean we're not supposed to be playing Citadel, and that doesn't mean that Citadel can't still win the game, but the average CMC in this deck is extremely high. And not all of your Citadels are going to do what you want to do. You're going to brick out very often on things like 4 Force, 4 Fluster, 8 mana spells, and lots of lands. So those are the things to note. Personally, I looking at this initial deck list, I thought there were some easy fixes to make this deck more consistent, and I will show you what I think those are right now. And it could be at the point this week that everyone has already fixed the deck, or maybe I'm wrong and the deck doesn't need the fixes that we're going to go for, and we're gonna see that. But what happened immediately after the showcase was, well, wow, the showcase was won by a cool new deck. Let's try it out, and you can see a variety of what I would consider to be powerful wizards play this to a top 8 in the next challenge on the next day. So Medvedev, Condescend, Slasher, True Hero, all top 8ing with either the same 75 or some changes. Slasher had some changes. And now not all of these are the same list, but some of these other ones down here are also this Tinker list. And what I would say to that is it was a large percentage of the field. To be fair, it did very well, but I would consider Medvedev, Condescend, True Hero to be some of the best players in the format. Slasher, historically has had a lot of success in the format as well. Even, this is Dom Harvey. So lots of powerful wizards picking up the deck. So I'm not sure yet if this deck actually has legs or will become a mainstay in the format. But let's find out. Let's play through a league and see how we feel. I know I've played against this a couple times in leagues throughout the past few days. I haven't just been not playing Magic. I am still pretty addicted to Magic. It's a little harder for me to drop Magic altogether. So I have played some leagues, and I can say I was not super impressed in my matches against the deck, playing things like Squeevine, and traditional PO. So, okay. I've done enough talking. There's more talking. This is what I would consider to be basic changes that I would make to the deck. Let me just bring that back up. The things that I want to cut from the deck are as follows. I want this Narset to go. I think this Narset is not very castable. It's a blue spell, and something of note is your blue count is precariously low. You are not always going to have the Force of Wills that you would like. This Narset does not look super castable to me, and neither do these Teferis. So what I would do is I would cut this Narset. What else I would do is I would cut both of the Delve spells. You do want to play powerful cards, but you want your cards to still be castable. I don't see these cards costing anything less than 4 mana for the most part. And at that point, you're better off with other choices. That's at least 3 cuts. I don't remember if I made more. Let's go take a look. The first thing I did is I added a Karn. I think if you're going to play our fast mana shell, a Karn makes a lot of sense to me. And I replaced the Narset and the Delve spells with 2 blue cards, being Hull Breacher. I think Hull Breacher is a nice blue card to pitch to force, but also fits this theme inside of the initiative, attacking and preventing your opponent. That does mean that I did end up cutting 1 blue card from an already precariously low blue count list, but I can't imagine that these Delve spells are doing much more than pitching to force anyways, so these Hull Breachers should add us some additional gameplay. In the sideboard, I cut the things like the Teferi. Like, again, I don't know how castable Teferi and Narset are. I could be wrong. They could be totally castable, but in my mind, those cards looked hard to cast. So I just updated the sideboard to add a Karn board. So we have Lattice Needle, Cage. I did put a Karakas in the sideboard. There's a lot of legendary creatures running around. I did keep, of course, 4 Archon and 2 Swords, and then I'm playing the full 4 Leyline of the Void. I would like to have played like 2 or 3 Tabernacles in this deck, but I just couldn't find room to do everything I wanted with my sideboard, and I felt like it was more important to play a solid Karn board plus Leyline. So I do think like that kind of matchup sounds like the hardest matchup for this kind of deck, though you do have Leyline, or so you do have Lavinia, and you do have Tinker Sphinx, so maybe I am wrong in that assumption. That's a lot of talking. Let's get battling and see if I am right or wrong about my feelings on looking at this deck. If you'd like to see your deck played on this channel, check out the Patreon link in the description below, where you can find all the information you need to submit a donation deck list. Let's battle. Okay, here we go. On the play, and I have pretty strong draw, I must say. Nice that we have one of our Tinker target, or nice that we have 2 Tinker targets. I think it makes sense to me to just run out Saga here. With the Soul Ring, we definitely threaten that. If our opponent has a Wasteland, I kind of want them to Wasteland the Saga over the blue source. And then we could follow up with like Tinker or Ancestral. Both are really strong. Obviously, Ancestral lets us still make a Saga token, which is nice. Seems like a pretty strong start. And we got the Wasteland bait. All right, Saga, you know what? Good job, Saga. you made way for the better land, Island. All right, what does opponent have? Opponent has a Patchwork Automaton. Interesting. Uh-oh. Follow-up Sphere is kind of annoying here. Follow-up Null Rod would be very bad. Follow-up Sphere. All right, well, the Tinker plan is out the window, and unfortunately, we have the Sphinx instead of the Citadel in our hand. We're going to pass the turn and cast Ancestral. I'm going to wait just because if my opponent doesn't have a Wasteland, this lets me hold up Force and Ancestral because Sphere makes everything cost 1 more. So I currently have 3 mana, which is the number I need to cast both these spells. Definitely unfortunate to have our Sphinx in our hand here. A Sphinx would be quite good, but let's cast Ancestral. I don't remember if there's anything in the main to deal with a Sphere. I don't think so. Because there's no Teferi. No, so we just battle through it. Okay. I mean, it's fine. Like, opponent had an okay start, but if we can find, like, an initiative creature here, looks pretty good. Flusterstorm does not look good. This is kind of our disjointed problem. I think it makes sense to just... Like, I could Tinker Citadel, and then I can play one spell every turn, or, one spell, every spell costs a mana, but I think it just makes more sense to get this. Oh, I guess that is kind of annoying, too. Hmm. Maybe I will. Maybe I will just cast a Citadel. Maybe I'll just try to get lands off it. It's pretty bad if I get Wastelanded. I was like thinking I wanted to cast Lavinia so my opponent couldn't play like a 3-drop or 4-drop non-creature spell. I want to progress the game, but I can't hold open my Force of Will if I do that, which is kind of unfortunate. Maybe I will just put a Citadel in play. I wish I had a Sphinx. All right. So they have one turn here to resolve anything they want. Saga is pretty good as well. My deck doesn't contain Wastelands and it doesn't contain Dress Downs, which makes things quite difficult. They currently can't make Saga tokens, but I assume they have other land in their hand. I don't think the Lavinia does much at this point. We'd rather hold open forces. I would like to just like cast a creature this turn though. Like find an initiative creature maybe. Though I guess the White Plume Adventurer does not block, which is problematic. Maybe I will fetch here. I don't think I need that force on top anyways. Key. All right, that's definitely a way we can win this game. This is just finding Vault Key. All right, we found a lot of Flusterstorms, which is something I was worried about too. Currently, the way I build decks, I don't think the metagame is super in line with 4 Fluster. That's really nice for us, actually. The fact that they can't make a construct here is extremely strong for us. Or extremely, not strong, strong's not the right word. Extremely good for us. I just don't think there's that many decks in the format. I mean, you want 4 Fluster against Doomsday, and you want 4 Fluster against PO, but you don't really want 4 Fluster against like a variety of the Tinker strategies, so it's a little awkward. Hull Reacher. Now I kind of wish I had put the Time Twister in the deck. I chose not to put the Time Twister in the deck. I didn't feel like the deck was good at emptying its hand with all the 4s and 3-drops in it. But at least this, I guess, saves me a life. Probably still supposed to cast it now just so that I can continue going through here and find a land drop. Will I want to? Yeah, I think I'm at the point where I'm just going to be chump blocking this every turn anyways. Like, if they play one spell, it's lethal anyways, so I might as well look for more things. Hey, look. I feel extremely lucky to have won this game. Nothing really worked the way we wanted it to, but we just happened to find a Vault Key off of Citadel. Got a nice pause from our opponent. I'm sure they are unhappy. All right, well, you put the powerful cards in your deck and you draw the powerful cards, so makes sense, makes sense. No Hercules in our sideboard. They are playing attacking creatures, though, so I think we will just go Amerias and Swords, boarding out Citadel. Boarding out Hull Breacher. Unfortunately, the problem is I'm boarding in 0 blue cards. So actually, these forces are going to be awful. So maybe the plan is actually board out forces. That sounds nuts. Can that possibly be the plan? Uh-oh. I have a problem. These are going to be the worst forces ever. But I mean, I have to board out Flusterstorms, so I guess we can just keep boarding in Needles for Wasteland. And then, I mean, Misstep has to go, which gives me 3 slots to keep, 2 forces in a pro. I mean, sure. I'm a little skeptical about this boarding, but I don't really know how else I would do it. These forces are going to be awful. But maybe I'll just have the blue card and everything will be fine. I can't imagine we're putting this back. It is a little mana light, but I mean, if it's transfer, we die. Okay. I mean, that's definitely one of the problems with our current board plan is we are very weak to turn 1 Trinisphere. Hey, look, a Forcible. I do think I have to progress my mana situation, so maybe I don't have to play a top. I can hold up Force here. Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. Wasteland is the best. He's definitely the best. Oh, no follow-up. All right. Obviously, every land is good. Every Moxen is good. Every Hull Breacher is not good. Well, I am definitely regretting my choice, but the only difference would be I'd have a Sensei stop and play. That's a great card here. Considering I have no follow-up. And this is 3-ball. Probably don't want 3-ball to happen. Flamestorm is not great here, but Hull Breacher is probably worse. Fetchland is my best. I mean, Black Lotus is my best draw, but Fetchland's pretty good. I've lost 2 Flip Crypts. Okay. All right. I'm definitely losing this game. I kept a low mana hand. Maybe this one's on me. Kind of deserved. So, patchwork. Sure. I mean, I have lost all 3 crypt flips. That is doing the work for my opponent here. Oh, I'm dead. Cool. Okay. Yeah, maybe not a keep then. It seemed okay, but no. All right, let's try this again on the play instead. We are definitely much better on the play, considering we just opt to not play anything like Hercules or anything like that. So we are looking for a turn 1 play of some high power. Like, it's really hard to put away the other hand just because of the power of it. I'm going to fetch the planes here, and definitely we're playing turn 1 Archon. Archon's going to really stymie their attack. Of course, we have this force, and this is the problem with the force keeping it in, is I don't have blue cards, but the good news is they can play 1 tap land here and 1 Moxen, and then we get to deploy a initiative creature, and this is, again, this is what I'm stressing, though. I think Archon is just the best part of the initiative deck. So it's extremely hard for me to really get behind to get behind the main of this list. But definitely seems like it's still fine, so maybe everything will be fine. I think we're going to win this game, if I had to guess. We have a turn 1 Archon against Shops. Like, they don't really come back from that. No matter what, I get dismembered, so might as well put it on the flyer. We're gonna be technically we can hold open Hardcast Force, which is kind of nice. I may opt to do so. Well, not like that. I can't. What? Oh, I'm stupid. Okay. Well, it's still fine. Everything's still fine. I don't know why I tapped that. I mean, the thing is, nothing I do really matters because I'm clocking my opponent to death already. Because I played like turn 1 Archon is just so good against Magic decks. This card's great. It's a thorough stomping, I must admit. Just gonna counter this. Then maybe I'll Swords their guy and I mean, who needs blue cards to pitch to Force? Just cast it for 5 mana. So if this goes to 2, it goes up to 9 and they die. Oh, opponent, you... Okay. You're dead. I think that is the ceremonial I am dead play. It's a trap. Yeah, this was a catastrophic beating. Mana Crypt, turn 1 Archon is certainly a play to be celebrated. Well, if that's something you enjoy, I guess. Honestly, for someone who enjoys casting a lot of spells, I do actually enjoy casting turn 1 Archon. I don't know why. It's just good, clean magic. Okay, here we go now. Round 2. We're up against Doomsday Expert Vertix. Verti X, maybe? This hand does not do the functioning. Opponent is also not on Doomsday likely, considering they have revealed that they in fact own a cat. So, I mean, I still do like a nice mental misstep hand with turn 1 Saga. There's like some serious upside to keeping this hand. I get Wastelanded, I lose, but I might keep this. This hand is quite good against like Luris Jeskai. I mean, this might be suicidal. This might be an incorrect play, but this hand has lots of upside. If they don't immediately have a Wasteland in their starting hand, I think they're just losing. And I also have like serious follow-up play with Hullbreacher Swords, Mental Misstep, and Fluster. Really enjoy this hand, I think. So we're gonna try it. I could clearly be in the wrong on this one, but I think there's enough upside. Even if they Wasteland us, it's still we have time to draw into mana. Nice. Okay, so they're actually on Shere Khan's Turbo Vault Key deck. So still want to hit a blue mana source, but Mental Misstep is good. Hullbreacher is fantastic. Saga is going to be good. So, and as Slasher would say, this is Saga is fixing. So, which is true when your opponent does not attack your mana. This Time Walk is a really annoying one. Because if I had Fluster, I think we would be in a great spot versus that Time Walk. All right. I mean, we could lose to some Vault Key shenanigans. But we're in not a bad spot. Blue, yeah. Oh, okay. That actually is really good for us because we have Mental Misstep, assuming this is going for Ancestral. They could, of course, have Force Backup, though, so. Okay, they didn't have another land drop. Interesting. So here, we are definitely going to make a construct. It's likely we make 2 constructs and try to beat down, and then just pick up... I gotta think about this. Depends on what we draw. Force is an interesting draw. So I could go 2 constructs and get a Sapphire. I could make 2 mana, untap. Okay, I don't get anything from untapping, right? I could instead just float a mana. What are my options? It's just Key, Soul Ring. All right. I could get blue and go. I think I could get white. I could get Pearl, and then I could White Plume, Adventurer, and get an island. I think that's better. With drawing Force, I think that's better. So what I'll do is I will go this. Pearl. White Plume. I can make sure it resolves and still get the island. So I lose out on a... I lose out on an... oh, wow, they have double Force. Huh. Okay. I don't know if I actually came out on top of this now. So I was going to say I lose out on a construct. But I did get Force. I got 3 forces and a Thoughtcast out of their hand, and I still have Mental Misstep for Ancestral. So unless they also have... they do have 4 Flusters in their main. Okay. Oof. Safe. This doesn't make mana yet. Time Vault and blue sources are my best draws. I still have a reasonable clock. And I have a nice Flusterstorm for a couple of powerful things. I don't have, like... Yeah, I was going to say I don't have Goblin Engineer beat, but I forgot I do have Swords. So I do kind of have Goblin Engineer beat. The Sword's actually pretty clutch. It was a very interesting keep from my side of the table. I still don't know if I really like it, but... Okay, so what I can actually do is I can go... untap. This way I can keep open my Flusterstorm. All right, I have lethal on the table, and I have a Flusterstorm, so I like my spot in life here. I think we were at some amount of risk if there was still a... Wow, balance is really good there. I had just all the right cards. It just all came together. The good thing here is going to be Karn. Karn is unbelievable against my opponent's deck. My opponent just cannot beat or resolve Karn for the most part. I do think this is an Archon matchup, if I had to guess. I don't know how many swords I actually want. I don't think this is a Sphinx matchup, though. I'm not sure we're allowed to board out Sphinx, because how bad is our mana situation going to be? I'm so scared. By mana, I actually mean, like, our blue count. I think what I should actually be doing here is boarding out, initiative creatures. Does that make sense? Maybe Swords. Swords is, like, really important against Goblin Engineer, but maybe I trim some initiative creatures and Swords here. We do want Needle for sure. This isn't going to help us. I don't think we want Soul Guide. They're just on 2 engineers if I go back and look at the Shirkan list. So I did for those who don't know, Shirkan had a double top 8 with this list last weekend. And I did try it in a league because I figured I would probably do a video on it because it's a it's a very Justin deck, but it has all the problems that I thought it would have. It has atrocious mana. It is a super weak to Force of Vigor and super weak to Collector Roof. But basically it's like an all-in artifact saga turbo vault key deck. My opponent's gonna be bringing in 4 swords, maybe negation. I really don't want to like fight them on the stack because of the 4 fluster, but like their engineer is the only thing that's going in the yard. So I don't think we want like a Soul Guide Lantern here. I do like Cold Reacher here. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna trim on Seasoned Dungeoneers. I don't know if that's the correct one to trim on, but they shouldn't have that many blockers, and I think I'd rather have them easier to cast one. I worry if I take out swords, I will die to saga tokens, but it is definitely a worry of mine. I'm very, very concerned about this deck in saga tokens. I don't feel like we're ever the better saga token deck, and ooh, I did not mean to do that. And I am worried we will be outclassed and unable to deal with saga tokens. This hand has a force, and like I really think that Needle on Vault Key is incredible in this matchup, so. Oh, now they have a Gataxian Pro. Oh, they have this. Okay. Wow, that's a hell of a hand. Anything I counter, they can probably get back with Luris too. Except for that. I think I am going to hit that. I mean, if I get flustered, it's just bad news, but I think it's fine. I guess I can get follow-up tinkered, but that doesn't seem like the end of the world either. Okay. Oh, they have exactly Time Vault Key. Okay, sure. I mean, yeah. Am I supposed to play around that? I can see arguments saying I should not have done that. And the reason is because, like, if you're worried about Thoughtcast, right? Like, Thoughtcast can find maybe Flusterstorm. But then my opponent will be out of mana and I can just slam a Needle anyways. So maybe just doesn't make sense to Thoughtcast there, or to force Thoughtcast there. I don't have a great logic and reasoning for why I did that, but it was a kind of a gut feeling. And I've been trying to be more cognizant of that because I do have enough experience that I should be listening to gut feelings for the most part. And just because we did like lose the game because we forced the Thoughtcast doesn't mean it's incorrect to force the Thoughtcast. It might be. It might be. But the result is not exactly indicative of how good that play was. It is definitely what could happen if that play is a bad play. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that play a little bit more. Let me know in the comments what you think about that play. Was that too eager? 2 cards in my opponent's hand, Thoughtcast on turn 1 after playing 4. Maybe there's only 1 card in my opponent's hand. Was there 1 or 2? This hand is awkward. I think I'm gonna keep it though. If I can, I might actually go Emerald Sapphire Time Walk, because if I hit a land, I can just slam Citadel. Which I like a lot. My opponent will have to have one of their like 5 forces or something like that. And I have plenty of mana sources in my deck. If I didn't have a Sapphire, this hand might not be keepable, but... Again, we do need to be worried about the Citadel. I don't know how good this Citadel is going to be, but... I didn't hit a land. In fact, I hit a blue card. I can still hit Mana Crypt, I guess. So, let's see what is underneath here. Okay, so... The problem with this is I don't actually have a force, but I think this is fine. We will just take our Flooded Strand here, and man, I'm gonna play into. I don't have to play into Mindbreak Trap, I guess. I'm just gonna name Time Vault because my opponent's deck plays both types of keys typically. I can't hold up force, so I might as well just pass. And then what I'll do is I'll fetch, and that way, I can maybe draw a blue card for force. Okay. So a bunch of redraws. Well, now they know exactly what we're going for. Two cards remaining. Well, it's a good one. So they're going to have up to 5 cards in their hand after this. 4 cards. Okay. They have to just use these in case, because they need to find force. But they have hardcast force, actually. Can't get opposition agent did because it's Luris. Okay. Looking for a blue card off the top for me, and hopefully my opponent doesn't find a force. Okay, didn't hit a blue card. All right. Survey says... Wow. I kind of wish they hadn't conceded, because I would like to see how this would... I guess I can draw. Okay, that would have gone pretty well. Unless if they counter force, and then I play a land and hold up negation, still probably goes pretty well for me. Okay, deck's looking pretty good. All right, we have Jose across the table. Jose is typically on Jewel Shops or Mono White Initiative. I could see them playing this deck, but it looks like they've revealed a cat. So maybe they're on 8-cast or maybe they're on Jeskai. Or sorry, 8-cast. I've been calling it 4-cast, which I think is just a fun name. But it could also say, Lyris Volt Key, Turbo Volt Key, something like that. I can't imagine I want to not keep this hand against a Luris deck. We have an ability to counter a highly proactive play. We can beat a Arcanist if that's what they're doing, and we have some longer game with Urza Saga. Oh man, I like pulled a little back muscle when I was doing my workout yesterday. Yeah, man, I don't want you to see my hand. Doing okay though. I'm really happy currently. I've been pretty much able to get into a daily routine of, or not daily, but what's the word for a weekday? Every weekday after work, before I do anything else, I do a little workout. Then prep for stream, make dinner, something like that. Trying really hard to get. My goal is to be the strongest I've been since college by the time that I turn 30, which is this year. I know I don't look 30, but I am turning 30 this year. So yeah, I office, I mean, I'm not in the office anymore, but post-college office life, not kind to my body, so trying to make up for some of the problems I gave myself. No matter what I do here, I can't really beat a fluster. I guess I can draw my own fluster. I think I am just gonna go for the swords. Okay. All right, well, I think it's Saga time. So we didn't have any fast mana in this opening hand, so the Seasoned Dungeoneer is basically uncastable. Another downside of not playing like Ancient Tombs in our deck. We did draw land instead of like Mox, but this I think actually is a really nice force target. I would rather my opponent didn't find a Wasteland, and I don't want them to accelerate themselves here. Nice, no Wasteland. So now we actually have a nice situation where we can progress on this Saga. I don't think it makes sense for us to play Dungeoneer. So if I go Saga, Pearl, make a construct, untap, use Pearl, Tundra, make a construct, get Soul Ring, make a construct. Yeah. My opponent is on Jeskai, and Jeskai, the new builds of Jeskai are good against Saga. They have lots of Wastelands, but if you miss a Wasteland, like my opponent did, which is another big reason why I cast Force on Expressive Iteration, if you miss a Wasteland, Saga can really take over the game here. So we'll see what happens. I don't think I'm in any rush to cast the Seasoned Dungeoneer. I can just play a slow game with these Sagas. This is definitely one of the ways Saga shines the most. Ooh, that is interesting. I don't know if that's the correct play from the opponent. I think it's possible they're supposed to hit this Saga. Interesting. They have swords. Okay, they're down to 2 cards in hand. If they have like a Mox and like get Luris in their hands, pretty decent. Yeah. For me, I think at this point I am going to play Dungeoneer. And the reason, it's hard to explain the reason here. But I think it's just too inefficient a use of mana. And then next turn I couldn't go like, so I go play Dungeoneer this turn, I untap, I make a construct, and then I get a Lotus, or sorry, I can get like a Soul Ring and play another Dungeoneer. Yeah. I guess this plays if my opponent has like a Daze or something, it's pretty bad. If my opponent has blue card Force, I'm okay with that. It means they have no cards left in hand. So I don't know. I don't know if I did a good job of explaining why I wanted to make that play, but also we get the power of my opponent already used their swords on our construct, which makes this card stronger. It's like a bunch of things that added up there. Maybe I'll work on. I really think I should take the opportunity given in these off-stream videos to try to be as articulate as possible in giving you what I'm thinking. I think what I want to do in the future is tone down the amount I'm talking, especially interacting with chat in my live videos, just because I think I am unfortunately hindering my level of play to a degree that is not acceptable for me. So like I have different goals, right? Sometimes my goal is, make content, sometimes the goal is win. And also the goal is to have fun. And unfortunately, some of those things are all intertangled together, right? And so I think the best way for me to have fun and make good content is to win, which is maybe not always the case, but it definitely is a way to make good content. And so I think what I want to try to do is make my live streams maybe less interactive and less stream of consciousness so that I can devote more time to making the correct play. And then hopefully that will result in higher level streams. I think I got away with a lot of things in the past 3 or 4 years where I did a lot of winning while still being very talkative, but maybe that was also because, in the beginning I had a less chat, right? I had less people watching, less people talking, so I was interacting less. That could be part of it. Could also just be variance where I was maybe getting lucky. Maybe PO was really well positioned, so I was doing a lot of winning because of my deck. These are all, things I've been thinking about. But especially for these off-stream videos, there's really nothing for me to do besides make the right play, and I have all the time in the world to talk through it and explain it. That's fucked up top deck. I was about to say I think we're extremely far ahead, and then my opponent did rip the Ancestral Recall. So now I think we are probably not far ahead. They hit a second Wasteland. They have a Dreadhorde Arcanist. Good God. Is that Time Walk too? All right, that's the Stone Cold Nuts. They hit the actual factual Stone Cold Nuts. And I'm going to be honest with you. In my opinion, I think you have to do that if you're the Jeskai player. If you're the Jeskai player and you're not hitting Ancestral Recall, I think your deck just sucks. That's the end all be all in my mind. My opponent did nothing powerful at all in this game and is going to get completely bailed out by the fact that they have Ancestral. They hit Ancestral into Time Walk creature. Really disappointing. But that's Magic. They registered the Ancestral Recall card in their deck. Oh my god, they hit 3 wastes. Now we can't even play our Dungeoneer. Yeah. This is definitely a pretty good example of why I really like the Jeskai deck against Tinker, especially Tinker Saga. I also think that this deck is also quite good against Initiative. I think a lot of decks are very good in Initiative, but the deck with playing four Swords of Plowshares, Dreadhorde Arcanist is incredible against Initiative. Dreadhorde Arcanist is a big part of that. So my opponent doesn't have an ability to stop my Dungeoneer here, but I don't have the mana because I unfortunately drew another fetch land. Which means they're going to get to 4. They're going to forge onto this Dreadhorde Arcanist, and then they're going to flashback Time Walk, and then they're going to flashback Expressive Iteration. And I don't want to play that, so we're going to concede. I think, like I said, I think we were probably in the, 90% chance to win the game area, and our opponent hit the one card that got them out. I mean, maybe Expressive Iteration also gets them out there, but that was kind of brutal. I wonder if this is an Archon Swords matchup. I think it is. I think this is not a Force matchup. I don't think my opponent does 2 powerful things, right? They do the Ancestrals thing. So I think it's actually just you take out all these forces. We're never going to be able to cast these forces anyways. And we'll just play some number of Flusterstorms. We don't need to keep all of our Flusterstorms. Too many. But I think this is forces out, Archons, and Swords in. Obviously, Archons play terrible with Citadel, but I think that's still fine. Oh, maybe I was supposed to bring in Caracas here in case they're on Lavinia. We don't know if they're on Lavinia. We saw Arcanist, and we saw Plateau, and we saw Iconoclast, so I would say they're likely not on it, but here's an interesting scenario. Are we just slamming this? I think the answer is yes. Obviously, we could wait and have Fluster on our next turn, but that means they can have other things as well. They have to have one of 4 Force of Wills for this, or they can remove it once it's in play, but then once it's in play, we have our initiative, so... They had the Force, so... Alright, misstep gone. Okay. This is going to be an Arcanist. Oh, it's going to be an Iconoclast. And a Mox? They have double Mox Force? Okay. Well, this certainly makes my life difficult. Do I hold this land? I think I can. Almost think if they had a swords, they might have been supposed to let the thing go. Ow, I got strip mined. My basic got strip mined. Is this... Yeah, Luris. Okay. Tinker? Hull Breacher. I think I'm supposed to play out this Mana Crypt here. I am going to hold the Hull Breacher and try to get an Ambush Viper slash hit a Preordain with this Hull Breacher. And now they can play Luris. Because they had on-color Moxen. I mean, for them, it just looks like I'm representing Force of Will. So it's kind of interesting they would jam their Luris right into it, but maybe they have a Pyro or Fluster backup. They have Force backup. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so my opponent has a Luris and a Mana Crypt, and I have a Hull Breacher, and we have about the same mana situation. Top deck war begins. I would say my opponent is pretty favored, considering they are the cantrip-based deck. Archon could help. Obviously, Hull Breacher stops Preordain, but it doesn't stop Expressive Iteration, and I think that's the one I'm more worried about. I'm going to hold back here, just in case my opponent draws, like, swords. I need to make sure I can trade off on this Luris. Alright, so two crypt flips in a row have been lost. Drew my own Brainstorm. I'm down to Brainstorm lock myself. Something like the initiative looks really good here. Saga is good as well. Saga has got to be good enough that we're supposed to keep it. I guess I will... Oh, I can't... I'm bad. I'm sorry, chat. I did forget about my own Archon. Silly me. I was gonna play the Saga, and then I was like, well, I should just see what cards in their hand as well. Alright, maybe I just freed up their Ancestral then. I figured my Archon is better than my Hull Breacher because my opponent can have left in Pyroblast. But looks like they drew a cantrip. And they can only cast one cantrip a turn. Okay. Do they shuffle on that? They did shuffle on that. I won that flip. Love to see it, I guess. Oh, they have a probe. Okay, so that's why they traded off. It makes a lot of sense. They had like 2 cantrips. All right, well, I mean, I have an active Saga here, which has got to put me in an advantageous position. They haven't drawn any of their Wastelands. They drew a Preordain, but only 1 spell a turn. Of course, if they hit Wasteland off it, it's bad. They went 0 top, 2 bottom. Good sign. I think we've gotten a little lucky here, and I played a little badly. I lost another flip, though, so I am losing the race to myself. No reason not to attack first. I do have a top if this saga comes to completion here, which is quite good. And I am going to have a construct. So I would say we're still in a good spot. I wish I played better, though. One spell? Oh, interesting. That's your one spell. Okay. Wasteland or no? No wasteland either. All right. I think we got a little lucky. My opponent has just not had swords. I guess they could swords on my turn, so they could play a spell on their turn and then swords on my turn. But at this point, swords should save us a bit. I want to flip. They're off it. Okay. All right. I think the answer is still no forces, though. Don't think Needle's good. Soul Guide actually might be pretty good here. These Lavinias look quite poor, actually. Maybe they're fine. I don't know if my opponent's leaving in force or not. I don't know if I'm supposed to leave in both targets here. It's like kind of bad against swords, but it's like a nice stabilizer. There's actually been historical reasoning to play some ley lines. I don't know if that's necessary. What if I take out Lavinia's and I just play the other fluster? I have at times definitely liked having ley line against these Jeskai Luris decks. They are heavily involved in the graveyard with Dreadhorde Arcanist and Luris, Dig Through Time and Cruise. And like I said, I think the key to those decks is really their restricted cards. So stopping them from casting Cruise and Dig is very important. Unfortunately, this hand is no good. This is fine. It's probably not a Brainstorm hand, though. All right. I mean, this hand has some serious issues, and we're up against a 7-card hand from our opponent. But they just always have a Mox, huh? It's really rough because this deck is looks like it's not playing Ragavan, and it is extremely mana is very weak, and it's also very slow deck. So if you don't have a Moxen in your hand, it can be really bad. I think I need to see what my opponent has in their hand first. Okay, Swords, Wasteland, Shattering Spree, and I can't fetch. Okay. Interesting hand for them to keep. This is fine, though. I just Swords this thing now. If they want to Wasteland me, they know about my Saga, so... I guess they have a Shattering Spree, though, so... They also have a Swords, and if they didn't have a Probe, then I would be okay with taking the initiative here. But the problem is they... Okay. Is they have a Swords and a token, which means I can't just slam this White Plume. But I at least have Swords for this Dreadhorde. And they have to Wasteland this Saga, so... We're bleeding, but we're not dead. What did they top deck? Nothing, because they're going to get a Luris. Okay. They still have a Swords. So our best draw is like Mental Misstep, probably. Archon. Okay, so we'll play Archon. They'll have to draw a land to play Luris and Swords. I guess they could Swords and Shatter, but that's also fine. So here's Swords. And they had land, so now they get to play Luris. But they don't have any creatures in their yard. They have a Shatter in hand. And we have a Saga that is not answered. And we drew swords. Okay, so now I think I am going to go get the initiative. No, I can't do that. Sorry. I thought because I had swords I could get the initiative. I cannot. Okay, so it's simply, I mean, I'm going to swords this now. And I can make a blocker. They could hit my ruby if they want. It's not a huge deal. What do they draw? They draw an Arcanist? Oh, no, this is just Shattering Spree. They just, oh, interesting. Okay, so they do have Lavinia, so I guess I should have brought in Caracas. So the problem now is I still have a problem taking the initiative because of Shattering Spree. They're just going to Shattering Spree both my blockers here. So I still really can't take the initiative. That's a good draw, though. I still need to make them Shattering Spree both my blockers. I'm just going to get a Soul Ring so that I can play my creatures. Okay. They have a Shattering Spree, Lavinia. They're going to kill both my constructs. I have a Hull Breacher. They know I have a White Plume still. They top decked a Ponder. I'm going to Hull Breach it. It's nice. It's really nice. Just an edition coming in clutch. They still get to look at their cards and order them or shuffle. And they still are going to kill my construct tokens. But at this point, I can actually take the initiative next turn. So they did not choose to shuffle. And they are going to blow up, obviously, my constructs, which is unfortunate, but is fine. All right, they're out of cards. I am pretty happy here. I just have to hope they don't draw swords, I guess. Probably doesn't matter which one I choose. I guess I could have attacked because I can untap, so I should have attacked. I missed an attack there. They drew swords? Wow. That's so bad for me. Or are they fooling me? No? Yeah, they drew swords off the top. That's still not bad because I can still do block. They get the initiative. Attack. I take back the initiative. But oof, man, that's got to be pretty close to their best draw they had there. Guess they could dig is probably their best draw. Oh, no basic in the deck. Interesting. Oh, we drew another land. So I don't think we're forging. I guess I should have fetched first. It's kind of unfortunate. Time Walk Karn. Okay, so we'll just keep both of these. And that should be nuts. Those are some of our best cards. We actually will be able to cast them through Lavinia because we hit land, so. Unless they wasteland us, of course. Time Walk will be very good because we'll be able to just crush through the initiative here. What a crazy game. I guess my opponent could still stop playing something really strong here as well. Luckily, they can't, like, draw a cantrip and then scry and then draw their thing that they scried. They went 0 top, 2 bottom. All right, hopefully our Hull Breacher doesn't die so that we can kick the initiative. All right, I took the initiative. That's so good for us. I don't think I care about goading or anything like that. Then does this resolve? Does resolve. All right, then we're going to still draw this Karn. And then I think we have this locked up. Because the Karn can animate the Soul Ring and block, and we also have a Catacombs. So everything is really good. Actually, I'll probably Soul Guide. Oh, I put the Soul Guide in my deck. That's unfortunate. I guess I should not have. I seem to... Oh, there it is. Cage, Needle, Lattice. Can't cast Lattice. All right. I do think the Hold Reacher edition really helped there. I don't think Narset was castable in that situation, but Hold Reacher certainly was, and it was so good. Okay, let's keep it up. We've won a lot of die rolls, which has been very helpful. That's a hell of a draw. Sure. Who needs Ancient Tombs? Not I. I think this is a pass angle because it really depends on what my opponent is playing, which of these cards is good. Alright, so I think giving the chance here for my opponent to maybe be on Bizarre tap is so good for us. Does the game over? Game looks over. I don't know. The changes I made to this deck have looked very good. Hull Breachers into Karns. Yeah, this game is over. My opponent is going to draw 0 cards, put 2 cards back on top of their library, and I just hit 3 tokens so I can cast Ancestral and play Lavinia. So, yeah, this game ended. That's incredible. My opponent has that 1 card left in hand. And they just fetched away 2 cards off that they put back on the top with Brainstorm. Is this Oath? Oath could save this game. Oath could save this game. Force? Uh-oh. The Whole Breacher on turn 1 Brainstorm might not be enough. We do have Lavinia, which should help. And we have swords in our deck. So we probably need to find... We need to play Lavinia, and we need to find swords. All right, so we're definitely playing Lavinia here. And I think we're also definitely playing a White Plume. Maybe I'm supposed to hold the fetch land so that I can do a bunch of divining top looks. But I also get to I also get to just go for the Lost Well as well. So we have 2 swords in our deck. If it's like Grizzlebrand, man, I can't believe I played turn 1 Hold Reacher on their Brainstorm and I might lose. My opponent's like, I don't need any of these. I don't. My opponent's hand was so good that with 3 cards gone, with 4 cards gone for no value, they might still kill me. That's crazy. Well, one thing I should note is, yeah, it's Grizzlebrand. I'm sorry, opponent. One thing I should note is that this is a great example of why Atraxa is better than Grizzlebrand. I did take out all my Teferis in the sideboard, so I don't have that many answers to Oath. All right. So we're just looking for a swords here. If we can get rid of their creature and then maybe find... Oh, they have Pernicious Deed. That's spicy. Or Karn plus Cage is also going to do it. All right. I think we just bought them both. Time Walk is good. All right, let's just start with Time Walk. They could have Negation, I guess. I think it makes sense to just deploy another White Plume. I guess maybe I should save it. No, let's just play another White Plume. Unfortunately, the Sphinx doesn't block this Grizzlebrand, so even if I put it... I guess with the Throne it does. Okay. I should slow down a little here. All right, so now we're going to get a little Skelly Bro. And then we're going to draw first so that we can see further with our top. We could spin first and then maybe put a top on top or a fetch on top or something like that as well. Saga White Plume. Okay, so let's draw into White Plume and try to hit something. It's good, right? If I can hit a Sphinx, right? That would be enough. I didn't hit a Sphinx. This is unblockable, though. I guess I have Vault Key as well. All right, well, I have quite an army here if they decide to take the initiative. Also, if they do find a way to kill Hold Reacher, I have another Hold Reacher. I assume my opponent has a Gaia's Blessing, but we'll have to see what they do here. Okay, so they do have Gaia's Blessing, and they have Emrakul, so no Atraxa. Okay. I don't know if Emrakul is good enough. Yeah, I think they have to attack. Because I get to attack into this Emrakul with everybody. I'm going to flash in a Hold Reacher. Time to do some math. So if my opponent, say this doesn't explore correctly, and it goes 6, 9, 13, 16, 13, 16, 19, 22, 25, 27, and they block a 3, 20. Okay, so it just looks like lethal. I must admit, I was not thinking that this game was going to be a win, but my opponent put the worst 2 creatures into play. So I guess we win. If my opponent simply puts an Atraxa in play, I think we are in much worse shape. But my opponent put Grizzlebrand and Emrakul in play, so I think we're going to win. I should also note we would horribly lose this game if I didn't have a Hull Breacher. So this game would have been lost without the changes that I made. Huh. I am quite astounded that that just happened. How do we freaking play this post board, though? It doesn't really get better for us. Like, I do probably want Cage in the main because of Saga. And I mean, Caracas is nuts. So that's a good sideboard card here because my opponent's playing double legendary. We did see what? Oko, and we also saw Pernicious Deed. I don't think this is an Archon matchup. I don't know if I want to put in swords at all. Obviously, they were going to be fine there, but I think that was a weird situation where they were good. Fusters are not great, but they're fine, I guess. All right. I have a classic Cage Citadel problem here, but I guess it's just fine. This is definitely the point where taking out Teferi is pretty bad. But I was just really worried about Teferi and mana cost, and maybe I mean, from the matches I've played, my mana hasn't been too bad. It might be possible that Narset and Teferis are just castable, which would be That would come as a very big surprise to me, but we don't have any Ancient Tombs in the mana base. We do have Sagas, but I don't know if this is a keep. Doesn't really do a powerful thing, but I do have a Force, and it's definitely better to have a Dungeoneer than a White Plume. I'm still amazed at that game. When I saw that the pause after the brainstorm, I thought the game was over from the Hull Breacher, and then my opponent played Fetch Mox Oath, and I thought the game was lost. If they have Force backup here, it's going to be very hard for us to win this game. All right. Thought I kept my hand, though. All right, so I can't play anything for now, and I need to go find that cage. Probably going to hold this brainstorm until I can get full value from it. I mean, if they immediately have an Orchard, it's bad. If they immediately have an Oko, I just don't play my Moxen out. All right, yeah, show me what you got in your hand there, friend. Worst misstep. Well, that is just about the worst possible thing that could have happened for me. I will brainstorm, though. I think I need to get this out of their hand. I don't think a Fluster is ever going to work. They just let it happen. All right. I am surprised, to say the least. All right, see what you draw. If they had drawn an Oko, I probably wouldn't play out my stuff, but... Karn Cage Saga is perfect. So let me play Key. I can't actually get this key back, which is really unfortunate, but... All right, key has been misstepped. All right, so now my plan is to Saga a cage into play. That's my only plan currently. But they can't counter the cage, so they'll have to draw an Oko or a Deed or something. Okay, I wish I could play a Dungeoneer this turn. I guess I don't need to play these out. I can just hold them. I don't know why I'm playing it out. All right, so they're up to 4 cards in hand. What do you got for us, opponent? DT, that, okay. So now the question is, are they going to go for a Forbidden Orchard, or are they going to go for a Nature's Claim for my cage? If they don't, okay, they would go for Forbidden Orchard. All right, well, the play is forced. I think they actually were supposed to go for a removal spell, unless they already have a removal spell. That way, if I do have a cage in my deck, I don't actually... Yeah, I think actually the initial list of this had like 3 cages, which I think is crazy. Maybe that's also how they beat Oath. Justin's like imagining, oh, I cut 5 cards against Oath. Maybe this Oath matchup is bad. No, but yes. I didn't want to play 3 cages. I thought that was quite bad. But here I am starting to wonder, maybe, just maybe, I was wrong. Couldn't be me. They have to force this Lavinia, probably. I don't have a force in my hand, so if I have a removal for cage, I'm just doomed. Force pitching, Mindbreak Trap. All right. They are dead in 2 swings. So even if they find an Oko, we are winning. So they need to find Pernicious Deed. If they find Pernicious Deed for 1 does ruin our lives. Or if their last card is Assassin's Trophy or Nature's Claim. I really strongly advise players not to play Emrakul as your oath target. I think it's just not very good. I would much rather... Oh, they do have it. Wow. That's super unfortunate. They have hard cast vigor. Wow. What a blowout. All right, can we beat an Emrakul here? If I had played a Dungeoneer, we could maybe beat the Emrakul. Oh, they went Emissary. Interesting. So... protection from instants for swords. So if I had gone Dungeoneer, I guess I could draw Dungeoneer Time Walk. But then I can't play anything. Yeah. If I draw Time Walk here, it's possible we can win. Okay. So maybe there is value in maybe there is value in more cages. So maybe not all of Justin's choices were quite lining up. So if my opponent flips a second one here and names creatures, can I win the game? I actually can win the game because of Citadel. All right, so I guess we're going to play this out. Wow, okay. So if my opponent is on double Emissary, I actually can win this game still with Citadel. I will be at 9, but it's possible. So they have at least a claim, a vigor, 2 vigors, and a claim. All right, so now they have pro creatures and pro instants, but they don't have pro artifacts yet. So I'm not willing to concede this game. If I top deck a Tinker and hit a bunch of Moxen, definitely winnable. I guess I can't steal back the initiative, right? Because this has to deal damage. I can explore, though. Okay. Any Tinker? Old Breacher. That doesn't do it. So concede. All right, so swords do nothing against my opponent as long as they name instant on the first pass, which they will always do unless they are going to die to a seasoned Dungeoneer. My opponent was ready with a removal spell and a tutor to Forbidden Orchard. Yeah. I mean, this is fine. It is what it is. I thought we were going to win that game, but opponent did have, between the time that we probed them and the time that they drew the demonic, they had also drawn a removal for the cage, or they had drawn Orchard. This one is probably... I highly doubt they'll force my White Plume, which gives me the ability to get Island, and I have Force Fluster. If they do force my White Plume, I'm in a worse spot, but I kind of think this is a play. Can this do it? I don't know. Like, they're very heavily incentivized not to force my White Plume unless they have an Orchard in their hand already. In which case, a resolved White Plume attacking and fixing my mana, and I just think that makes sense. Like, if they force my White Plume and I force back and they have an Oath, then I do lose, but... if I just had Force, this probably doesn't make sense, but with Force and Fluster... okay. I think this is a Fluster because we're just trying to tempo here and we have a second Fluster. Maybe I'm going to need my Time Walk, but I'm not even sure I'm going to hit my land. Even if I hit my land, I'm not sure I'm going to play my land, play my Time Walk because maybe that's a good enough reason not to. Like, I have to go Forge tempo play here. Couple turn clock. Saga. I still am not going to Time Walk because I want to be able to force plus fluster. But now Time Walk is lethal. So that's fine. It just slows the game down by a turn. Like if their plan here is land oath, I have it beat. Their hand plan would have to be land oath. Yeah. Force. Force back? No force back. So now, even if my opponent has another one, they're just dead because of the tempo. Not because of the fluster, but just because of how fast that my white bloom kills them. Okay. Wow. This feels like a steal. I guess I have a fluster for a time walk as well. Feels like an absolute steal. My saga was bait. They had a second oath. I didn't even notice that. I should have looked what they pitched to force. And an orchard. Oko doesn't do it. Got him. All right. A lot of 2-1s, but pretty convincing. Okay. Well, I thought this might happen, but so far so good with this new Blue Initiative Tinker deck. Whew, man. All right, play for the trophy here. Didn't win the die roll this time, and our hand is not super strong, but it does have force. Saga is like a really good draw. Mox is a good draw. This has got to be a keep. I don't think you're supposed to mulligan this one. I would like a Mox draw is probably the draw I would look for the most here. Fetch is, I guess, fine. It's just a little slow. I'd like to be doing something a little bit more high powered, but like a blue card is nice because it's a second force. But I just keep drawing lands, huh? All right, well, I'm going to play out my cards here because I have everything costs 1,000,000 mana, so. If they force this, I'm so happy. Please force this. I don't know if I'll be able to get them to force that, to be honest, but. Okay, force. Force pitching Sphinx. Okay, so this is probably a mirror. And maybe we had the exact same hands as well. But I can't say that I'm anything other than absolutely thrilled for my opponent to... Oh, and it's not a mirror. They just wastelanded me. Oh, wait. They didn't wasteland me. How do they fit wastelands? Is it a mirror, but they cut Saga for wastelands? That's an interesting idea. This one, I think I just let resolve. And then I just take the initiative back with mine. And then I get the way I get punished for this is if my opponent has swords plus fluster. I have double. So maybe they cut sagas and are playing wastelands instead. Certainly something you could choose to do. All right, my opponent has 3 cards in an island. I have 5 cards in an island. I have double force for a removal spell here, and I currently control the initiative, so I would say I'm favored here. If they're going to play like a white plume, or sorry, a seasoned dungeoneer, it's super good for me. I also have force pitch things. Even if they had force backup, we are winning that. They probably just have to trade, which is fine. It just means we go into the lost well. Blue card's a good draw, so that way I can play a creature and hold up force. Also, an initiative creature is fine. Time Walk is also fine. So what if I just top here and I go Lavinia Time Walk and then I draw force? Seems good. I drew a lot of lands this game, but it actually seemed like it worked out pretty well. All right, so Lavinia, Time War. I actually have Hardcast Force twice. I guess I don't because of Wasteland, but I do because of Stash. Man, I just there's just always something happening. All right. Well, I feel like we navigated this game extremely well. It doesn't really make sense for my opponent to counter Time Vault if they have Wastelands in their deck to beat Saga. So I think that was just a misplay from my opponent, and they could be they probably would win this game. Well, I don't know what's in their hand, but I think they would be at a much better spot in this game if they had just not forced my Time Vault. This is the power of better looking Tundras. So if my opponent has Fluster here, I really don't want them to have Fluster. So I'm going to just force pitching Force. Because if they Fluster me and I lose on that, I would be really upset. Like, it doesn't make a ton of sense for them to tap this way unless they had Fluster in their hand. So it could just be a bait, but I think that I want to respect the 4 Fluster Storms that are in the typical deck list and make sure I don't lose the initiative. All right, well, unfortunately, the Saga is got a Wasteland across the table. If they steal the initiative, I do have Menace, so I can take it back and hit Throne, and I think we're in a decent spot. I wish I had a second Force, obviously, still, but I think I have to respect Fluster there. All right, so they stole back the initiative here, which means they can go Lost Well or Forge, but we do have Menace. So as long as they don't have swords, we can get the Throne, and we should be okay. Okay, they're going on Forge. As long as they don't have swords. Okay, so if they swords me, it means they didn't have Fluster, and then I obviously got outplayed. Let's see what happens. All right. So I get back the initiative. They're at 10, and I get a Throne. Throne is going to get me... I would really have liked the unblockable one there, but White Plume is still fine. They can't take back the initiative anyways, so... I'm surprised we only played one mirror, to be honest. This deck looks like it could get really popular really quickly. Considering how fast Initiative got popular, and I thought Initiative was so bad, this deck has got Force of Will in it, so, you know. Yeah, again, I do think that we were supposed to lose that game. I'm pretty confident my opponent should just have not forced Time Vault, and then they would have had the advantage in that game. So I'm going to bring in Swords and Caracas. And then I'm going to take out... Maybe we'll just take out Citadel. Karn should be great in the mirror. Hullbreaker is probably not going to be amazing, but it should be fine. We might want Needle for Vault Key. Maybe we just take out Tinker in the mirror, especially with Lavinias and stuff. No, the answer is we should just take out Flusterstorm, right? How often is Flusterstorm going to be good? I kind of like that idea. Is that silly? It's at least a little silly. That makes sense. Well, like the things I want to Flusterstorm are Swords and Tinker, but like Swords, they could just easily play around Flusterstorm. I think I'm going to take all the Flusterstorms out, and I don't know if that's what I want to be doing, but it's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to bring in Archon unless I want to take out Forces, which I am at like, what, 5 blue cards now? My blue count is horrible. Do we just want to play the mirror, though? Maybe the answer is Citadel out. Fluster. Yeah, I don't think I want to play Archon. It does fly. Maybe on the play I want to play Archon. Because if they play a turn 1 Archon, it's pretty bad for me, right? So maybe on the play you want Archons. So maybe we'll take forces out on the play and we'll play Archons. That could make sense. I don't know. I haven't really thought about this very much, obviously. This hand is not great, but I think it's good to have a turn 1 force on the draw here, and then we can see what they're doing, and then just choose whether we want to go for Lavinia or Saga. Mox. Well, they don't have a cavern, so we don't have to worry about them having a cavern or anything like that, which is really nice. We can actually just hit their payoff spell. I swear, losing cavern is just so bad. Okay, no payoff spell. Interesting. Lavinia is definitely a lot worse on the draw here. White Plume. Show me your secrets. They have force. So they have Seasoned Dungeoneer with force backup. That's really bad, right? It's super bad for me. So even if I were to go for a Lavinia line, they are going to play a Dungeoneer next turn. All right, I think I want to get a Saga going. We need to ramp, even if we can't make creatures from it. I think we're losing this, actually, to Turbo Seasoned Dungeon. This is like having a Cavern, right? I know your whole hand. Does it make sense to force this back here? I didn't keep in Flusters, and they may have, so I think it just makes sense to expend both forces. I guess I could theoretically go for a Sphinx off of Lotus. I would have to hit... So on the third turn of this game, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'd have to hit so much stuff. Yeah, all right. I'm just going to... The reason I'm going to use this force, even though I know they have a force, is... Well, I guess if I had gone Lavinia, this would have been way better for me. All right, maybe I'm bad. I have to respect Fluster, I think. So maybe I was supposed to go for Lavinia, but I wanted to get the Saga going. Okay, so we know what my opponent's got going on here. We want to hit Moxen off the top to immediately steal back the initiative, which will help a lot. Mox is our draw. Our Swords is a good draw as well. Swords would be a really good draw as well. All right. Mox or Swords. Karn. That's kind of garbage. That's like really bad. Okay. So what am I going to take off this Saga? They went Lost Dwelling, they went top bottom, and they found something they were interested in. Watch them like Tinker Citadel right now, and I'll be so sad. I wonder if I played this game badly. They have another creature on top. It's super bad for me. Everything here is horrible for me. Being on the draw stinks. Well, they did draw Tinker. Oh, Teferi. Okay, I'm off this game. This game looks bad. Don't think Time Walk helps. Maybe we will keep Fluster in then. I think on the play, though, I want these Amarias. Maybe I'll do this. It's like a little sus, but by a little sus, I mean these forces have very few blue cards, but... I just think on the play, an Archon makes sense. Like, my opponent is going to have a very hard time playing the game if I have an Archon in play. On turn 1. Maybe I should have London Bull that other hand. These hands are just so bad because they have no fast mana in them. I'm just going to mulligan this hand as well. All right. I think we keep this. I do bottom bottom, and I go Tundra Needle Wasteland Saga Time Walk. Yeah. All right, all in on Saga Gaming. It's not exactly where I want to be in my trophy match, but I think this is what I have to do. My 7th card hand was not keepable. My 6th card hand was not very strong. So I think we just, played with what we had. See what our opponent does. I mean, if we get flustered, I guess I look like such an idiot, but... Black Lotus. Yeah, this game is going to be impossible to win if my opponent has a Black Lotus. Yeah, it's doomed. It is doomed. That's kind of how I feel about initiative mirrors, for sure, is the person with the Black Lotus is definitely at an incredible advantage. Did draw the land, so it makes me wish I had kept my Seasoned Dungeoneer, but I can't guarantee that I have my 3rd land to make Saga tokens if I don't keep the land. Dun, 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 dun. I think the only way we win this game is we steal a Vault Key win, probably. Which is possible. We just top deck Time Vault. That's probably our best way to win. Unfortunately, between the Lost Well and Explore and my opponent having Soul Ring Lotus, we're just going to get overwhelmed in terms of power. And any spell I cast has the opportunity to be forced. So I am sad. Very sad. If they have no more creatures and no swords, then they could block, I guess. But if they have any creatures or any swords, then nothing here would make sense besides attack. Okay. They drew a Flooded Strand. So we know for 2 of their 6 cards are lands. We know they kept 1 off of the city. Sorry, off of the well. Here's another White Plume. Which will probably... Oh, this is going to make this thing freaking untap. Yeah, I think we're going to have to look for a steal here. Just didn't get the mulligans we were looking for. Could even still have swords, like... It's totally possible as well. I think I'm going to have to get a key no matter what. That makes me want to get Black Lotus. Oh, they have swords. I think if I were them, I would have waited on that. Even if I go for key, it's super bad for me. I think I'm going to go Black Lotus Dungeoneer. I just don't have the mana to use. Do you have Force along with your island? Oh, you have Force blue card with Tinker along with your island. Wow. All right. I mean, this is what it is. My opponent had just up in the top 1% of initiative draws here with turn 1 Lotus and they drew Strip Mine. Lotus Soul Ring, turn 1 initiative creature, turn 2 initiative creature, Swords Force blue card, Strip Mine. Not much to do here. And yeah, not much to say. Sad to lose like this, but not much to do about it. All right, well, we didn't trophy. Unfortunately, some mirror matches of Magic definitely come down to who has more restricted cards, and that did happen there. But 4-1, pretty impressive showing, all things considered. I definitely could see a lot of the problems I felt could be apparent with this list. These Flusterstorms are super sus. The blue count is super sus. These sagas make the mana very, very awkward, but also you kind of need them or you don't have the power. If we were to substitute these sagas with wastelands, I would just question, why are we not playing mono white? Why do we need to play blue at that point? The mana probably looks even worse with wastelands than sagas. Sagas at least can go get sapphire and pearl and that kind of thing. Like, I think the saga makes sense if we're doing what we're doing here. I definitely still think that cutting Teferi and Narset makes sense. As long as you are playing like off-color Moxen and Saga, it seems like it could still be hard to do blue or blue-white. But I mean, like, when you draw our, like, we had some really weak hands where we had to play a lot of fetch lands and tundras, then I actually probably could have made Teferi and Narset look kind of good there. We do lose some amount of versatility without Teferi, where we don't have the ability to bounce oaths or opponents' initiative creatures or that kind of thing. Lavinia was definitely good when we had it in play, but it seemed like impossible to get into play. And then I think the Hull Breachers for the Dig Through Time Treasure Cruise were clutch. I think we definitely wouldn't have won as many games as we did without the Hull Breachers. The Hull Breachers make a ton of sense to me. If you go back and look, I do believe I streamed a blue-white initiative list in the very, very beginning. Maybe it was a meme list though, so we didn't actually get a full. Yeah, it might have been a meme list, so we didn't actually get a full thing. But I think Hull Breachers make sense when you're trying to play this off-color Moxen suite. They're a powerful play. They up your blue count for force as well. You are just like super. I think what you need to do is maybe we cut swords and have blue cards instead. I don't know what blue cards make sense. Maybe it's just more Hull Breachers, but it feels like we need to increase this blue count in this deck, and it's already really hard. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the answers are. I think this deck is fine. It seems better than I gave it credit for in my initial run through, but I still see a lot of the problems inherent in the way the deck is constructed. I don't think I would want to play this deck over Initiative Stompy, and I think Initiative Stompy should be just extremely favored in the mirror. I would assume just extremely favored in the mirror. So, but this is definitely a way where you can make your initiative deck better against combo, and that was something the initiative deck had a problem with. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how this progresses. I'm very interested to see by the time this video comes out on Friday, and then when I'm maybe off my Discord hiatus on maybe Sunday or Monday. I'm really interested to read the conversations and what people have been thinking about this deck and if it is actually worth exploring some more or not. Let me know what you think about this deck in the comments. I am reading the comments still because, I don't know, you guys in the YouTube comments give me good vibes sometimes. So let me know what you think about this deck list. Let me know what you think about this deck archetype, and I will see you for more vintage content Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. See you then.